Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new time for updates from the lab. We are going to start doing them now at 1 p.m. Eastern, so Sonny doesn't have to roll out of bed at 7 o'clock.
This is so amazing.
I think we're going to have the marketing team from Fetch come up at some point. And WorkerBee and Waterspinner from our admin staff will be.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, bud, good. How you doing?
Doing great. Just wanted to say good morning, good evening, and afternoon to everyone here. I know everyone's tuning in from different spaces, and just super excited to talk about everything that we got coming up today.
Yeah, Sonny, you want to lead the way with some Osmosis updates?
Yeah, sure. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, cool. So, let's see. What are some updates? Really sort of grinding away on superfluid still. We came up with a timeline of things of how our road plan is to get it all working by February 28th, and it's looking plausible. We had to basically make a couple of sort of adjustments to like what's in scope for this MVP in order to like fit the timeline, but also just to like have it simplify it, like test fewer things at once. So Stevie and I have been putting together a post that will come up pretty soon, kind of explaining what to expect in Superfluid when it launches. But I can share a little bit about it right now. Some of the main things that people should be aware of about some of the restrictions that will be in place. One, for example, is we're going to start off with actually just pool 1 being able to be used for superfluid. So that's the Atom Osmo pool. We figure that's probably the safest thing to test with, just because it has the highest amount of liquidity already, and so it's like the least gameable. It's the hardest to manipulate, and it will like give us an opportunity to test superfluid before we then start to expand it to be able to be used with more pools. So that's one piece. On top of that, some other restrictions that we made. One is another one that people should be sort of a little bit aware about. Is that when you superfluid, you're gonna not be able to vote. You're gonna be basically giving up your governance power. Really, what will happen is you'll traditionally in governance, what happens is when you inherit votes from, when you delegate to a validator, you inherit their votes, except you can override their vote. Unfortunately, the way it's architected right now in Superfluid, you can't actually override your validator's vote, which is why it's sort of more important to delegate to the right validator in a way. We in the future, we will probably be able to add governance power to Superfluid stake as well. Just that in the current architecture, it was a little bit messy on how to do it, and so we want to make sure that's tested more, because it involves like Superfluid is already touching so many different modules. It's touching like the staking module, the distribution module, the lockups module, and it's like we wanted to just like, hey, let's remove one module that we don't have to like incorporate into this mess of like changes throughout the system to make Superfluid possible. What else? The other one is that per like pool, you'll only be able to superfluid delegate to one validator. So you have to choose, normally when you stake, you can say like, oh, I want to delegate to like these 5 validators in this proportion or whatever. In Superfluid, let's say with the Atom Osmo pool, you'll have to say like, hey, I want all my LP shares of this pool to be Superfluid staked with only one validator. You can't split it up right now. And that's actually more at the UI level, I think, just to make that a little bit cleaner. And then I think that's the main restriction. Oh, and yeah, you can't redelegate. So you can't like you can't switch that validator. You have to unbond and then bond and then like re superfluid stake again. So that's also so yeah, so basically people should be aware that there are all these sort of restrictions that come via superfluid staking that are not there in normal staking, and over time I think those restrictions will be removed. But yeah, that's just some things that people should be aware of and expecting once the MVP of superfluid goes live at the end of the month. I don't know, Dynamic or Stevie, are we like missing anything else there that we talked about on like restrictions on superfluid? I don't think so.
Sounds like all of them, but these things are gonna like change in the future, right?
Yeah.
This is
This
just
is
for the rollout.
we should definitely treat the launch version of superfluid as this like sort of beta where this is quite possibly the biggest change in like proof of stake ever, like since the creation of proof of stake. I don't know of any other chain that's ever allowed staking with multiple assets. So that's basically what we're doing here. We're allowing the staking with Osmo, but we're also allowing the staking with like LP shares. And so, this should be treated as a beta that like, we want to like take it slow and like reduce complexity as much as possible. Yeah. So, So keep your eyes out for the post. Probably in the next couple of days, that will give some more information and lay it all out. I guess other thing. Sorry. Two other things. I know one of the questions that we got very very often from people is, do they have to unbond in order to superfluid stake? If you have if you're trying to convert staked Osmo into superfluid staked, then yes, you will have to unbond. You will have to unstake because you can't. In this beta version, you can't just convert staked Osmo into superfluid staked. If you are in a 14-day bond of pool 1, you will be able to automatically convert that into a superfluid stake. So the UX basically of how you will superfluid stake is on the site. When you go to the, you bond you'll have like the list of bond lengths. You do the 14-day bond, and then it'll give up a second button that will say superfluid. And you click that superfluid button, and it'll convert that bonded LP positions, and turn it into superfluid bond LP position. So so basically, if you're staked, you will have to unstake to be able to superfluid. If you're 14-day bonded in pool 1, you'll be able to convert that automatically.
It's
Cool.
huge.
I think
It's awesome. We're get to save your hair too.
Sorry, what?
We'll get to save your hair too.
Yes, that's the goal. I think honestly, I think it's really good that I think forcing functions are usually a really good way to making sure that releases happen on timely basis. So while it is a little bit stressful, I think it definitely helps encourage and push us to make sure that we're able to launch this thing in timely manner. Yeah. Okay. So that I think that, so that's sort of been Superfluid has been like the main focus of the team for the last like week or two. Just like making sure we get it launched on time. I guess some other things maybe talk some other things that are worth mentioning. Let me see. I'm looking through my notes. You know, a lot of things, especially with, you know, the data stuff is coming along pretty well. We should get some folks on from Imperator at some point to sort of talk through like how that's coming along.
Yeah, they got a pretty snazzy dashboard coming, don't they?
Yeah, they have a really cool dashboard that like it'll allow you to like track your, you know, accumulated swap fees and your IL over time, and you know your total positions like you know across the different LP shares. So what your like exposure is. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of cool data and stuff that you'll be able to do via the new dashboard. Um, yeah, honestly, I think that's sort of it right that we have right now. I think that's, you know, we basically most of the team has been pretty laser focused on working on superfluid this week.
Yeah. We got some new listings and a bunch of PRs ready to run. Fetch being one of them. We invited the marketing team RV and Atari. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, great to be here.
Hey everyone, great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. You guys want to tell us a little bit about Fetch? I know you guys joined the Cosmos a while back, but you're just now getting IBC connected. And
Yeah, no, sure, absolutely. For those who actually are probably just hearing about Fetch the first time, we were founded back in 2017 and launched via IEO and on Binance, I think sometime in March 2019. There's a complicated version to explain Fetch, but I want to keep it quite simple. So the easiest way to maybe say that would be we're offering, let's say, individualized AI experiences for everyone. And the way we go about doing that is what we call autonomous economic agents, or basically also now known as digital twins, which is not to really confuse anyone because the concept has changed over time as we kind of try to figure out what's the best way to appeal to the lowest common denominator out there. And you know, sometimes the wordings obviously change, but at the end of the day, the sum and substance of what these agents do still remains the same. So it's built upon what we have an abstract branch of artificial intelligence called multi-agent system. And basically what you can do with them is you can assign them to a very complex ecosystem with a certain set of rules and assign them to, you know, go and do certain things, and it'll exactly do that. So it could be something as mundane as measuring the temperature at one location to something as complex as helping you find a parking spot. Obviously, since over the past few years, we've, you know, made a lot of progress in terms of migrating from Ethereum to Cosmos, which we launched on mainnet, I think, last year in March again. And we're huge fans of the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm sure Atari will have a lot to say about that in a bit. And we basically rolled out IBC last week, if I'm not mistaken again. Was an overwhelming response from our community with a lot of people supporting it. And we're excited to be a part of the IBC ecosystem finally now. So we can, you know, pretty much use the hashtag IBC gang everywhere if you want. So yeah. Now we're just looking forward to being on Osmosis. A lot of our community is also asking about that, and we can't wait to get started. So yeah, that's basically Fetch in a nutshell.
nice. WorkerBee, I know you're a big fan of Fetch.
Yeah, I've been following you guys pretty much since I got into crypto. That's an excellent explanation you did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, for a Fetch question, I was looking a little more and saw stuff about the Capricorn upgrade, enabling CosmWasm stuff going on. Is there any more light you guys can shed on that?
I would say for CosmWasm, with the integration of the VM is predominantly being used to finally allow permissionless applications to be built on the Fetch.ai chain. And that's kind of always been the goal. 2021 was kind of about building the framework that developers would be required to have in order to build. And 2022 for us is all about trying to get developers to build on the chain. So that's why we decided to go with the CosmWasm like VM, because it just made the most sense, especially being that we're already in Cosmos and in the ecosystem. They basically are doing it like as some of the best like at this point. So yeah, it's all about trying to get developers in the ecosystem to come and try and build applications on Fetch.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Especially with talking about the virtual agents and everything that has to offer. Possibly being able to incorporate that into how users interact with Osmosis, and possibly making claiming rewards and stuff like that more of a fluid, easier function. Things like that just sound like this is going to really take off, and really make everything a nice seamless transaction.
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal in all honesty, is to have things become as seamless as possible. And the beautiful thing about the digital twins or the AEAs is that they do constantly learn. So the nice thing about it is they can continuously get better at their jobs and do specific tasks and be put into different sectors to do different tasks. So if somebody wanted to make, for example, an application, they would be able to, go to multiple different chains and like compound their rewards or other things like that. It would be something that would be possible now that like IBC is going to be part of the chain. And so it opens a lot of doors for a lot of different developers to do a lot of things with artificial intelligence that they maybe previously couldn't, because of all the silos in place, where either you have to pay, X thousands of dollars to be able to even get your hands on the software that's available. Whereas now it's accessible to pretty much anybody who knows how to use it. So yeah, and we're also working on improving the documentation significantly. That's another huge goal, is to improve the documentation to the point where we can get people out there using these applications that are being developed, and have very little borders for people to have to get stuck in. And so yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So do you guys foresee like being able to send the agents over to Osmosis, and then that way I can interact with the pools and stuff using your agents? Or is it going to be in the reverse, where we need to take funding over to you guys?
It's, I guess, like without saying like, actually maybe I'll let RB take this one.
So there's the short answer. I would say it is possible. We do, as a matter of fact, have had a very quite proactive discussion, I would say, actually, on the subreddit for Osmosis itself. And think you also asked quite a lot of questions there, B. And we remember saying that we have a management DeFi liquidity management tool that's very specifically geared towards. Currently, we are on Uniswap and PancakeSwap, but it is possible to bring it to Osmosis. But that would require us to change the tool from, up and pretty much from scratch. And there is obviously a lot of room for functionalities for the agents on the DEX. We just kind of, I think, from our end, need to sort of sit down and look at the development timeline that would require us to bring those functionalities with the agents to your DEX. And we're aware of the fact that it could be sort of trailblazing, in the sense that it would be the first of its kind in Cosmos, and we're really sort of I think looking to get that done. But still, at the end of the day, we probably need to be aware of how much what kind of functionalities we can think about, and how many iterations for the agents to be involved in. So, long story short would be we're having this conversation in the background, and we're hoping to, bring some updates at some point.
Cool. Yeah, so it's basically just kind of like, you guys are here now, you got to start implementing stuff to use now. And then there's this like overall picture where, one day you can work towards that goal.
Yeah, and the one of the biggest things too is that we're always looking for suggestions and stuff for future product releases and things like that as well. So as RV was speaking about with us currently having bot swap, which is the name of the application that currently uses the agents to do liquidity management in other decentralized exchanges that we want to bring to Osmosis. We are 100% open to ideas of what what anybody here wants to see, done autonomously without you having to handle it. Like any suggestions that people have, you can always, tweet stuff at us. You can go to our, r/Fetch.ai community and go and check that out and send us any recommendations that you have. Because we're 100% down to have suggestions from the community of what you guys would want a tool like that to be able to do in Osmosis or elsewhere that you want to see in the Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. I know, off the top of my head, a real basic one is just, I don't know, having $100 worth of funds and buying a certain coin when it's low and selling when it gets high. Even just that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, which is great because we pretty much have that feature rolled out on other dexes as it is. So that type of thing is definitely something we can consider when it comes to coming over to Osmosis. As RV had said, the process can be a little bit long just because for every single chain that it needs to be built on, it needs to have a bunch of changes made to it and updates made to it if it's going to happen. So it is definitely one of the things we're highly considering, and yeah, we're looking forward to it basically to be able to get involved with the Osmosis community on that.
I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome to the IBC gang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We had a couple of your speakers' questions. Chloe, you were up here pretty quickly.
Hey, good evening or good morning, or wherever you are. Yes, yeah, I was there very quickly. So I got the time cited, so I was immediately joined the club. Well, not a really specific question. I think I was in the space last time, and I asked Sonny about the liquid staking, super fluid. And then I watched, I digged a little bit more, so I learned more about it. And I just want to say, good job with the meme. It was so cute. It was fun. I loved it. So I think the fun part is important too. We want to be entertaining, educated, have some fun, learn stuff, but also, laugh a little bit. I think that's important. Just want to say thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much. Mad Tomic, you were up next.
Oh, thank you for having me on and speak, Eddie and Sunny. My question is for Sunny. Have you looked into which hair salon you're gonna go to and get your hair cut? Just wondering.
I mean, I think I'm just gonna do it at home, probably, right? I mean, So here's the thing. Before I realized, I actually already shaved my head last year, right at the beginning of COVID, because I was curious to see what it would look like, and I was like, let me do it when no one will see me. So right when lockdowns began, I learned I don't like it. So that is more incentive for me to not do it. But yeah, last time I did it, my sister just did it for me at home. So I don't know. We'll probably just do that again, and maybe live stream it or something. I don't know. I what am I talking about? The goal is obviously that's not going to happen. So this is a moot point.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you. I have done this myself during COVID. You can what you can do, you can actually go to YouTube, you can find the videos. So you just do exactly what they do. Actually, the result is awesome. I mean, I'm a woman. I'm a lady. Okay, I'm a woman, and I used to be working in fashion. So imagine me there to cut my own hair. How how much courage that needed to be done. So give a try. I think you can be surprising with the result.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, my wife does my hair sometimes, and then she buzz cut me. So, but I hope it rolls out like you said, But keep up the good work, Sunny and Eddie, and thank you for having me speak.
Thanks. Atari, are you up next? Oh no, wait. So you're from Fetch. Never mind. Wait. Who was up next? Maybe financier.
Hey everyone, I can go if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey Sunny, my question is a bit more of a feature request. So currently, when I provide liquidity in the pools, sometimes I want to unbond just a portion of it, but there's currently no way to do that. I always have to unbond all, and so I'm wondering, is there a future where we'll be able to say unbond 25% of what I'm providing?
Yes, this is a feature that time-related things. I think that. Yeah, I think what our plan is. So we're kind of like coming up with like a roadmap right now of post-superfluid, because like basically what happened was like in Lisbon when our team had a retreat there, we kind of came up with a roadmap for the next 3 to 4 months, and definitely superfluid was a big priority of that. I think we're coming up with like a plan for like what to do next, and I think our focus. I think we're gonna try to spend like a month or two at least, like to like just iron out a lot of these like tiny, death by 1,000 paper cut UX issues that like before we start on another big new feature. The next big feature will probably be the stable swap stuff, so that will probably be like what we're gonna work on as well. But like, yeah, fixing like the fact that you can't, it's literally like it should probably take like a day or two to fix this, but like making it like to fix and like test it, but yeah, making it so you can unbond partial positions and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, Killier, yes, these are things I will hopefully fix within the next month or two.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Hello, Sunny. I saw you in Lisbon. Your hair looked fine, so just ignore whatever they're telling you. You don't need a haircut. Yeah. So my question is, and look, I've asked this in a couple of places with the IBC gang. Fungibility with ERC20s. I was just on the Cosmwasm call as well. I've been, look, obviously you've liked a lot of tweets, you've put some comments, etc., out on Twitter and the rest of it. I just want to try and get a good understanding of what your plan is for the necessity for fungibility for ERC20s that we bring on, or other network tokens that are getting brought onto Cosmos. You've got Polkadot Bridge, you got some other stuff coming on. What's the plan of action there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess that's the other big thing we should have. I should also update on that is the bridge stuff. So NTG, you should check out on the Osmosis Medium. There's a post that we put out, sort of like laying out how we think about bridges and like getting, we should basically Osmosis governance should have to vote on a bridge to use as the primary service provider for each chain. So starting with like Ethereum, we'll vote on a couple of different bridges. We'll vote on like this. So basically, what we did was our team sent out a RFP, request for proposal, to a bunch of the bridge providers who expressed interest. So that includes, Gravity, Axelar, Wormhole, SIFchain, and Nomad. Basically, these teams like all sort of expressed interest in being a bridge provider, and so we sent them like a questionnaire, basically where they can share information about like all sorts of things, including how decentralized they are, what their roadmaps are, what their teams are, what their incentive systems are, like so. And basically, they have until the end of this week to return that, and then we'll basically publish those and like curate them a little bit, basically, like. And then I think what we'll do is then next week we should probably do some sort of community town hall where people can, after having a chance to have read it, people will get like we'll try to get representatives of each of these bridges on, and then have like some sort of public AMA where the community, Osmosis community, can ask questions of each of these bridge providers, and then after that, then we'll do some sort of on-chain governance vote to select which provider we use as the primary Ethereum bridge provider.
And then, so like looking forward, like trying to go ahead like a year's time. So with different networks, are you always going to have the policy of putting out an RFP and then selecting one bridge from the multiple bridge offers you've got? Like, for example, if you want to go and connect on Polkadot, you're only going to say, okay, well, look, we'll pick one bridge and that will be it.
For the time being, yes. I think a year out, we will hopefully have like systems like token fungibility groups, is I think the term that SIFchain uses. But yeah, like some way of like allowing like some sort of like stable swap that allows you to use like different versions of an asset from different bridges and still be able to make them all like sort of fungible with each other. But it's just not the highest priority for us right now. I think there's much bigger levers to pull. And so, yeah, for the foreseeable future, like I think that's sort of what we would do. It doesn't have to be for like every chain necessarily, right? We can be like, okay, this will be the bridge provider for EVM chains, or this will be the bridge provider for like, but let's say when it comes time to do Solana, right? Then it'll be like, okay, yeah, we will probably need to have a new RFP for like the Solana bridge provider, then a new RFP for like the substrate bridge provider. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was trying to get Mad Tomic back up here. He said he had an answer from Mary on the feature request.
One thing with the Ethereum and EVM, though, for the bridge providers is some of the bridge providers right now, they only support Ethereum. While I think, ideally what we would want is a bridge provider that can do both Ethereum and any EVM chain rather than like just Ethereum. So that, I think that's something to definitely look for when, deciding this bridge provider, like for Ethereum, like who's future proofed to work with any EVM chain.
Are you giving a subtle suggestion that you're interested in the Omni EVM project that SIFchain has?
I think that I think we should evaluate all the options.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we could do actually like a YouTube video and maybe kind of go over it and
yeah,
kind of in depth with the community, just to get the education out there about all the different capabilities of the bridges.
Yeah. I mean, look, to be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of using the SIP chain bridge just because, you know, I think we've been pretty clear in our uh, view that, like, I think that it doesn't Osmosis does not want to use a bridge that's controlled and owned by a competing DEX, right? That is sort of was one of the main reasons that we didn't want to use the gravity bridge when it was on the Cosmos Hub because of the whole gravity DEX situation. So yeah, I think a similar thing would apply where it's like we don't want to use a bridge that's designed to funnel liquidity in like volume into SIP chain instead of Osmosis. We want to use a neutral bridge. So yeah. Kevin?
Well, good afternoon. How's it going?
Good. Welcome back up.
It's good Kevin? To be. Hey, Worker. So, Sonny, I guess I mean this is to anybody, but I feel like you could speak to this, Sonny. Can we get a ranked choice voting system, or is that a pipe dream?
It's not a pipe dream. It's like, but it would require new code in the Cosmos SDK, which I don't think we're going to have time for in order to make this like bridge process work. Stevie wrote up a good post on Commonwealth that a model of doing this, and it is more like what I would call approval voting, where Stevie's proposal was let's say there's 4 bridge providers, and we say like yes or no. It's like, okay, do we want Axelar to be the bridge provider? Yes or no. Do we want Gravity Bridge to be the bridge provider? Yes or no. Do we want SipChain to be the bridge provider? Yes or no. And we people can vote which ones they approve on, and then what you could do is whichever one has the highest portion of yes. But I think what you also want to do is have like some sort of runoff system where it's like, hey, if 2 of them are within like, let's say 15% of each other, then we make a second proposal where it's like, ignore the you just put the top 2 in heads up, like first past the post against each other. I think that's probably, it's kind of messy because it'll be using up like 5 or 6 proposals just to make this process happen. But I think it's probably the best we can do right now with the limitations of the governance module, which is literally yes or no voting only.
Right. Yeah, I saw Stevie's model, and I do think I agree with you. I think it's the most I guess expedient solution, without having to go back and I don't even know all the steps that would be entailed to amend the whole Cosmos SDK for this, but really just in the spirit of NTG's question earlier, and I think just looking at this as a multipolar ecosystem where we're looking at other situations where we'll be evaluating, a group of vendors. It just does seem like it could help down the road, smooth out the governance process, make voters feel like they're a bit more dialed in, and it feels a bit more equitable for the vendors that are getting involved, and they're not just going to get kind of sideswiped or what have you.
I totally agree. I think having getting some sort of ranked choice voting into the SDKs should definitely be we should work with the SDK dev teams to like prioritize that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Will, did you have a question?
Hey guys, back on Mary's question, I was just going to chime in. There is actually an additional issue, which I mentioned before on the unbonding, just where if you click unbond all, Oftentimes I notice it seems to take some like random percentage of my GAM and unbond it. Maybe that's in pools where people have a position past a certain percentage of the pool, but I've had other people reach out to me and say, hey, I unbonded, and then I realized after the 14-day window was up that actually I clicked unbond all, but it only unbonded a portion. So
Yeah.
was just going to throw that out there. And the one other question I'll put out just while I'm on the mic is this the new weekly call time?
So for the second one, I would hope ideally yes. This makes it a lot easier for me because I'm often on the West Coast, and yeah. But so for the first question, okay, so yeah, so here, okay, yes, that will actually be fixed in this upgrade that's going to happen like in next week. So the reason that it does that is if people remember early on in Osmosis, um, the when people were bonding tokens, the gas usage per token would get higher and higher and higher, and that's when like the please use 6 million gas meme started, and that was caused by a bug where the more times that people locked tokens, it was like it was doing like linear computation over the number of locks. And so the more locks that there were at like exactly 7 day like mark, it took like, longer and longer, and the gas usage kept going up due to weird issues of how the IAVL tree works in the Cosmos SDK. Um, we have since fixed that bug, but at the time, our hacky solution was we made it so the front end would add a random jitter to everyone's when you said you want to do a 7 day lock, it would actually add a little bit of a random jitter. So it'll be like, oh, okay, you're gonna do a 7 day and 3 second lock. Okay, you're gonna do a 7 day and 5 second lock, and now you're gonna do a 7 day and like 11 second lock, and it'll just add this like random jitter to it, so that way it like instead of being, that made it so the gas usage didn't blow up so quickly. And so that's why when you do unbond all, I think it takes the closest one. You have to do unbond all multiple times to get all the jitter lengths. That's going to be that, the actual underlying issue had been fixed a long time ago. We just actually, in this upgrade, we are going to go through and take everyone's like jittery locks, and we're going to combine them all into like one lock again. So that bug should be fixed in this coming upgrade.
That's a much more exciting story than I had realized. That's a lot of fun. Thanks for sharing how that came about.
Yeah.
Matt Tomic, did you want to touch on something from earlier?
Yes. I thank you for having me back on. Mary brought up the unbounding percentage. Right now, Osmosis only offered 100%. So if you use Cosmos Station, I don't know if I think most of you have heard of it. You can actually do the DeFi lab in the app itself, and then go to earnings, and you guys can go in there and individually unbound each position that you have in each LP that you have. So I just want to share that with everybody.
Sweet, thanks. Oh, another cool tool that I think worth bringing to people's attention is someone built this app, a site called Dexmos.app, DEXMOS.app. So, I know one thing that, has been an issue for a little while is that the Osmosis front end does not show external APRs correctly. It will show the APRs from like Osmo rewards, but it doesn't show them for external incentives. And this has been like, a big issue for a lot of people, and it's just because of the way our front end was architected. It's going through the refactor right now, and after this refactor, it will be fixed. But until then, you can use Dexmos.app, and it'll calculate both internal and external APRs. So that's a nice useful tool for people.
Financier?
All right, appreciate it. I've got a question for Sonny. I want to know his thoughts on this golden staking tweet. Is that all right?
Was it the one about we have to start being more selective on which pools we incentivize?
Yep, that's one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that going forward, I think we do have osmosis governance does have to be a lot more selective on which pools it incentivizes. Just because we're gonna see a huge explosion of tokens. I think in the next coming weeks to months, especially with the ability to create CW20 tokens on chains like Juno and stuff, or even when we bring over ERC20 tokens from Ethereum, it would be kind of crazy for us to try to add incentives to every possible ERC20 that can come over. So I think I think that Osmosis should start to focus its internal incentives, primarily shifted more towards incentive matching style systems. Definitely we should Osmo incentives are going to go down no matter what, especially once the third inning comes as well. That's going to be a big hit to Osmo incentives as well. And this was always known. And part of the goal here is we think that Osmo incentives were to bootstrap the system, but over time it's in the benefit of a project to get liquidity on Osmosis. So and they should be adding their own external incentives, and that can be augmented with Osmo incentives. So that's an example of. So I think that governance should only approve incentives for pools that have their own external incentives also being added. So I think that's one thing that Osmosis should probably be doing. And then also focusing incentives more on pools that are of strategic value to Osmosis. So I don't know, maybe the Osmo UST pool, for example, right? That has high strategic value just because it acts as the fiat. You need you want to have a liquid pool against stable coins for easy on off ramping and stuff. So there often can be pools that are, or the Atom Osmo pool would be one. But actually, the Atom Osmo pool is actually currently very, in my opinion, a little bit over incentivized, where I think almost 40% of all rewards are going towards that pool, which might be more than what's needed. So yeah, I don't know. Basically, yes, I think that as a whole, I'm very supportive of this notion that it's time to start for Osmosis governance to start being a little bit less loose with how it gives away rewards and start to be more strategic about it.
Beautiful, man. Thank you very much. I've got one last thing to say. KYC is anti-DeFi. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that weekly reminder.
I love how you end every time with that. It's amazing.
Hey.
Frio?
Sorry.
Sure.
Let me shut off.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Love the project. Doing some LPing myself, so very much enjoying the UX, UI. One of the best DEXs that I've used. Quick question for you, Sonny. Listened to a few of your pods over the summertime on ZK and Epicenter. You went through the different ways to kind of prevent MEV with the SGX, time locks, and threshold decryption, if I got it right. And I know that Osmosis had that on the roadmap to implement threshold cryptography as a way of preventing against MEV. Is that something that has been fully implemented, or is that something still on the roadmap to be implemented?
Yeah, that's still on the roadmap to be implemented. Things are coming along there. It's definitely, a bit slower than we were hoping. But partially because, well, okay. So the things that are moving along quite well are, one of the prerequisites to making it happen was this piece in Tendermint called ABCI++, which enables like the consensus decay to do more stuff at the consensus layer, which is what's needed for threshold encryption. So that work has been going on quite well, mostly been led by a lot of the Tendermint core development teams at like the ICF and stuff. But I believe that ABCI++ should be, the V1 should be in the next Tendermint release, which means that we can start adding it to the Cosmos SDK. So that work's been going on quite well. And then a lot of the cryptography work and stuff needed to make it happen has been going on in collaboration with the Anoma team. So things are definitely moving along. I do wish we could dedicate a little bit more. We're definitely hiring to be able to dedicate more resources towards it. The engineering capacity that we have right now, it's often like, the problem with the thing with threshold encryption is it's like this like 6 month. It's a feature that definitely requires like 6 months of work, and then because of that, we keep prioritizing like things that can be shipped faster over it. For example, superfluid staking or stable swap, and like it just keeps getting kicked down slightly, kicked down the road a little bit, which is unfortunate because I do think that is probably the single most important feature of Osmosis. So really, it's just a matter of, once this ABCI++ and like the, base cryptography libraries are done, then I think we're going to have to like start putting more resources on actually integrating it into Osmosis. And if you are, interested in cryptography and like, cryptographic engineering and just like consensus protocol stuff, Rust developer especially, please reach out because we're definitely hiring for people who can help with this project.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Worker, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw another question out there for FET or for Fetch.
Go for it.
I was just wondering what kind of experience do you guys already have laid out where people come onto the DEX, buy some FET token, and then what currently would they be able to do with it?
Well, at the current time, the thing is that the mainnet currently is having like stuff being built like on top of it, like as in we can't talk like obviously too much in general about anything, but yeah, right now the main like thing that you can just do with the token is it's just going to be used for like securing the network through like staking, and then there are plans basically to use the token basically to be the utility token for the rest of the network. So projects that are like built on it will more than likely use it or need to be used at least to be able to get tokens for the projects being built on there. And so, yeah, like for example, when it comes to the model for even, as we said, currently the bot swap application doesn't work on Osmosis, but when it does, what will end up happening is you would need to then first get the like FET token. And once you have that, you would be able to use your FET to then, like, I guess it depends. The model is possibly going to be changing. We're in a testing phase with it right now of how much FET is required to be able to run different triggers to do different things. But let's say, for example, you would just need to buy, 25 FET over the span of maybe like a couple months to be able to keep multiple active triggers, like going at the same time that the agents would then be like tracking and like holding on to for you. So yeah, basically to answer your question, at the current time, we're now in the like application development stage. So there isn't a whole lot to do right at this exact moment, but in the coming months, that is certainly going to change very, very quickly. That's about as much as we can say.
Awesome. I'm pumped.
Hey, Sonny, I've got a two-part question for you. One's more of clarification, and then the second one's more of just a question. So first, when superfluid staking goes live, will it be just the osmosis side of the pool that contributes towards staking, or is it a little bit of both sides? If that question makes sense.
It will be the Osmo side.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. And then I asked you this question like many months ago, but I figured I'd raise it again. Do you see more pools arising that are maybe like 80, like 75%, 90% Osmo to be a little bit more capital efficient with your with superfluid staking?
I think that hot take, I think anything other than 50-50 pools are kind of unnecessary. I know. I guess this is like a larger thing related to like, just Osmosis's AMM design directions. But, I think Osmosis was originally designed, a lot of it was based off of like the balancer design. Partially because, we saw balancer and was like, hey, this is the most generalized AMM design that we see, and like, let's take that and go off of it. But I think that as we learn more about AMMs, we're starting to realize that the balancer design is maybe a little bit too open. Like for example, like things like weight changes. I haven't been able to find a good use case for them. And so, and having like customizable weights actually makes a lot of other things harder. I think that 50-50 pools are just generally way easier to work with and like do cool stuff with than weighted pools. So in general, you'll notice that we generally tend to promote like not using weighted pools, and most of the pools on Osmosis, like the new pools especially, tend to be 50-50 pools. So yeah, I think that for superfluid we should only allow 50-50 pools probably.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. But the general rule of thumb is like, people say like, oh, you get less IL in an 80-20 pool, right? If you have like $100 of like, and you can put it into like an 80-20 pool, like Osmo to, I don't know, atoms or something. Well, if that's the ratio of assets you wanted, here's something else you could do. Just put $40 in the pool and keep $60 not in the pool but in Osmo. That actually gives you less IL. And yeah, so I think the fundamental premise of weighted pools was a little bit off.
And it gives you uneven slippage between the two different sides.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to ask about superfluid staking, and does it affect eligibility for airdrops?
Well, obviously that's up to the airdropper. We've built scripts that allow people to get the balances of any token on Osmosis, both including the staked amount and the LP'd amount. So, we have scripts at any time. If someone wants to airdrop to Osmo, they can go ahead and, airdrop to both staked and LP'd Osmo. And we also do this for other tokens, right? Where we actually say like, hey, look, if people want to airdrop to atoms, we've written a script that makes it very easy for people to get, every address's LP'd atom position as well. So yeah, so we can probably update. We'll be updating our script to make it also work for superfluid stake. I'm not sure how much would actually change. It should be. I don't think too much would actually change in that. But yeah, so yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. But it's really up to the airdropper to decide whether they want to like airdrop to LP positions or not. But this is something we've already been supporting.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I was thinking that if you are doing superfluid staking, your address would show up in the LP list. The question then becomes, does your address also show up in the staking list as a superfluid staker as well? And it sounds like that's something you're thinking about.
Yeah, when you get the staking list, you can differentiate what percentage of a address's stake value is from normal stake versus superfluid. So you can make it so it doesn't double count.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. Thanks.
Real quick, I just wanted to ask you, Sonny, to follow up about the superfluid staking and stuff. So you were talking about governance earlier, and superfluid staking would not have any governance. But let's say within that same address, if I have normal staked 1 Osmo and superfluid staked 10 Osmo, that 1 Osmo will still have voting rights on that same address, correct?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sorry, if I'm normal stake, like if I'm just regularly staking 1 Osmo and then superfluid staking 10 Osmo with the same address,
yeah,
I'll still have voting governance with that 1 Osmo, correct?
Yes.
With that same address.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just due to weird technical reasons. Will be fixed, but yeah, you will definitely she'll be able to vote with the pure staked Osmo from the same address. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, I actually have to run right now. I have to jump onto another call. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening in. And if you had any questions, sorry we couldn't get to them, but feel free to shoot them on Telegram or Discord or hold them for next week.
Yeah, appreciate your time, Sonny.
Yeah, thank you, Sonny.
Next week.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, guys, thanks for coming.